Traders! Stop acting like a bear in a bullish environment and listen up. Bitcoin is probed below 90K again. Fear is back. Liquidations are everywhere and people are starting to doubt. But here's the thing. Moments like this are where markets usually show their hand. So before we get into the charts, let's talk about what's happening on the macro side because it explains why the fear exists right now. Let's go! First, something big just happened. Morgan Stanley, a $1.3 trillion financial institution, has officially filed an S-1 with the SEC for an Ethereum trust. Hey, wonder why? That's regulated capital preparing long-term exposure to Ethereum. Now think about that. That is very telling about the future of this space. If you're a bear, I don't know what you're thinking, man. You need to stop focusing on those 1-minute charts. At the same time, we saw a Bitcoin probe below 90,000, forcing over $450 million worth of leveraged long liquidations in just 24 hours. That's not smart money selling. That's leverage getting flushed. That's retail traders taking positions that are too large and not realizing that they're focused on time frames that are too small for the size that they are taking. When you get a move like this, you get margined out of your account. And here's the most important part. While price is shaking people out, Wintermute's OTC desk reports that over $13 million, Mr. Powers, has flowed into Bitcoin call options between the 98K and 100K prices. That's positioning for Q1 upside. So while retail feels fear, institutions are filing new cryptocurrency trusts, forcing leverage resets, and quietly positioning for higher prices. Now, let's see how all of this lines up with the charts. As always, let's start with the Bitcoin monthly chart, the chart that I check almost every other video. Bitcoin is still bullish overall. The macro trend line is still intact. Higher highs and higher lows are being maintained. Nothing on the monthly suggests a trend change. This is still a bullish structure, people. What you want to pay close attention to on this chart is the previous month's high, the spinning top high right here, which happens to be 95K. We rejected it so far this month, but if we manage to close above that level, that's going to be a very bullish sign for this chart in terms of continuation, and you want to position your outlook for that scenario. On the weekly time frame, Bitcoin continues to show a bullish setup. Even Bitcoin longs data suggests we're entering a pump window. We're currently in the 19% zone, a region that historically aligns with expansion, not weakness. That doesn't mean straight lines though. But the bias continues to be bullish. Looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the daily chart, we have a clear bullish zone below price and liquidity sitting below the trend line. If Ethereum against Bitcoin pushes lower, it's testing the demand and liquidity. It's not weakness. Relative strength still favors Ethereum, which means you're looking for what? A failed low. And if this chart turns around and gives you a higher low, that's going to be a bullish sign for the altcoin space in general. On the Bitcoin 4-hour chart, price is pulling right back into this consolidation zone from which it previously broke higher. This is important. Strong markets don't change trends so quickly. They re-enter structure, build acceptance, then continue. This looks like re-entry, not a bearish trend reversal. Remember, higher lows often lead to higher highs. This higher low, which is acting as support right now, is a great reference point to define risk from. If price happens to push lower than that, you know you should probably not be in it, but also you want to keep in mind that you would be moving back into the midpoint of this consolidation, which can act as another support, which means you can see a failed low or double bottom there. Again, if that type of formation develops, then you can define risk from that again. So it's all about defining risk after confirmations form. On the 2-hour time frame, Bitcoin just tapped the bullish order block. Right now, price is sitting just under the 100 exponential moving average. Once price reclaims that EMA, momentum usually shifts back in favor of the bulls. This is a very clean level to watch. Major moving averages like the 100 exponential moving average have a tendency to act as support or resistance levels because there is a psychological effect. Many traders and investors are looking at the same level, so there tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. What this means for you is it's an area where you can anticipate price behavior rather than react to it. Again, the key is to wait for the opportunity and then confirm it. On the Ethereum weekly, we have liquidity on both sides of the market, which usually precedes expansion. Below price, there's also a clear bullish order block. This is not weakness. This is a coiled market that's preparing to move. It's important to understand that the market makes the choice. We can only determine potential scenarios and then see what the market confirms. This looks like a bearish structure, but it has yet to confirm. Until that confirms, we have to consider the bullish structures as well. So if we get that upper breakout, you're looking at this illustration, a higher probability. If we get a lower breakout, that takes us into the order block, which can then form a failed low relative to this previous low, which is in line with the broader bullish structure. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture. That's a very common mistake that newer traders and investors make. On the Ethereum 4-hour chart, price has just tapped a key level that has acted as a magnet multiple times before. Markets are drawn to key levels like this. As long as Ethereum holds this zone, the bullish scenario stays intact. This happens to be the $3,000 whole number area. Make sure you keep that number in mind for setups, people. And this brings me to something very important. I want to be fully transparent with you guys. Starting now, I'm going to run a live trade challenge right in front of you. That's right, a live trade challenge. I will start with $10,000 and aim to grow it to $100,000. No hindsight, no hidden trades, no fake P&Ls with fake pictures and all that other nonsense that you'll find everywhere else. Every setup, every decision, everything will be shown live and in real time. Wins, losses, and everything in between. Because the goal isn't hype. The goal is to show how structure, patience, and risk management actually work in real markets. So, when you zoom out, Bitcoin monthly structure is still bullish. Weekly setup favors continuation. Ethereum against Bitcoin has demand and liquidity below. Bitcoin is re-entering consolidation, not breaking. Order blocks are being respected. Ethereum holds key magnet levels, and institutions are positioning while leverage gets flushed. This isn't chaos. This is fear being absorbed and capitalized upon. The strongest moves don't start with excitement. They start with decisions. Right now, price is sitting at levels that matter, and the structure is still doing the heavy lifting. So, let price confirm and respect the levels, people. And if you want to follow the 10K to 100K challenge live, get real-time updates, and see how I'm navigating these markets as the environment changes, I've linked my free private Telegram in the description. That's where I share key levels before they play out, live market updates, and everything relevant to the challenge. And it's completely free. It's where the real conversation happens. So the link's in the description. I'll see you there. Oh yeah, and I have to mention, this Telegram channel is a private channel. And the only way you can access this channel is through the link in the description. I have to mention this because there are a couple of channels that are publicly available that are using my name and my logo, and they are fake. To make sure that you go to the right place, you must use the link in the description. All right, so for those of you that like to pay attention to important details like that, I'll see you there.